Welcome to another special Rolled in Reacts episode. This vehicle came in for its yearly inspection, and this is what the technicians found. This car came in after the wheel almost fell off due to a bad wheel bearing and hub assembly that the customer had not wanted to repair the week before when they were in for an oil change. And the owner of this truck came in saying that his wife had hit a curb a bit harder than normal. Customer states, I always do my own repairs, but I just had to come in because I can't get rid of all this smoke I'm getting while driving. Customer states, my engine thinks it's a cappuccino maker. And the owner of this car came in saying, I always liked watching rally and wanted to try it myself the other day, but car has been overheating ever since. Please advise. And this car came in because the customer said it was all over the road after they had installed a sportier suspension that they apparently found on Temu. And the owner of this car came in saying that he gets really itchy when driving longer distances and thought it might be something with the material in the seats. This Mustang came in with quite the misfire after the owner had changed the spark plugs on it all by himself. Turns out that he accidentally plugged the spark plug wires in the wrong order. Customer states, running boards on my truck have been acting all crazy since I started driving my fat stepson to school every morning. The owner of this Jeep had let a friend of a friend do some brake work on it for cheap and had been driving it like this for over a week, before having to come into the shop to have it looked at. Customer states, I have a really bad noise when braking, but my brakes aren't even that old. When your second oil change looks like this, you're probably in trouble. This BMW M5 came in with some starting issues after the owner heard a loud bang when driving back home from work the day before. And this customer came in because they needed a new wheel after they hit a speed bump so fast they went airborne for a short while. Customer states, drove through what looked like a little puddle, but damn thing near swallowed the whole truck. This customer came in because they had apparently been backing out of their garage when the garage door had started to close by itself. And this car had some suspension work done at another shop, but had to come in because of a pretty bad noise. And this guy came in saying that he had a wobbly steering wheel for a while, but fixed it himself. Oof, now that was close. And this customer came in saying that since last week, their truck has just refused to start and wanted it looked at. This car was in for an oil change, but the mechanic couldn't sit in the cab for very long as the customer had installed their very own signature smell air freshener in the back seat. Customer states, my son did his first oil change, but car has been running worse ever since. This truck rolled in because the brakes caught on fire after the owner had installed some new rotors and calipers together with a friend. The owner of this car had saved a bit on car repairs and parts throughout the years, and this is what the mechanics found. The owner of this truck came in complaining about a loud whining noise after they had towed a trailer full of sandbags. And this customer had hit a pretty high curb pretty fast. Customer came in saying, had a few beers with the boys the other day and then we worked on each other's cars, but now I have this clunking sound and I just can't figure out where the hell it's coming from. And this truck had gotten itself a couple of new owners while the customer was away on holiday. This Hyundai was in for a regular oil change when the mechanics heard a scraping sound, and this is what they discovered. This customer asked the mechanic, but how do you know that I have a grinding noise? It ain't hard to tell, sir. This side-by-side came in because the owner had gone off-roading in the middle of the night, but didn't see exactly where it was going and had ended up in a swamp. And this Audi Q3 rolled in because it had a knocking sound. Customer states, installed brakes that were in fairly good condition from a scrap car, but now brakes barely work anymore. The owner of this car came in saying that they had a clunking sound and that their friend had fixed it for them, but came in because it still clunks when turning. And this customer had jump-started their car, but done it backwards. And this customer came in and said, "Don't try and upsell me brake pads or whatnot. I just had new ones installed 3 months ago." Customer states, "My truck keeps launching air biscuits. Can you check it out?" Turns out it just needed a new gas cap. Customer came in saying that his car has been getting really bad gas mileage ever since he started using the car again after it was parked under a tree for 6 months. And this, folks, is what happens when you zip tie your calipers instead of bolting them down. Customer states, "I keep hearing a clunking sound." Seems like a perfectly acceptable amount of play. This Audi rolled into the shop because it had quite the misfire. The mechanics found a broken cam lobe that was rotating on the camshaft to be the main culprit. This car was in for an oil change at another shop, but had to come in because the owner had a really bad rattling noise when driving. This truck came in with starting issues after the customer had tried installing a new sound system using a YouTube tutorial. And this customer had tried to do an engine swap by themselves, but had to come in to get some help. This customer was driving on the highway when their car suddenly stopped. This Jeep rolled in with a clunking noise after the customer said that he hit some tumbleweed on the highway 4 days ago. This customer came in saying that they do all their own maintenance work, but lately their brakes have been acting strange and this is what the mechanic found. The owner of this car said that they hit some smaller road debris on their way to work and came in to have it checked out. And this customer complained about a clunking sound coming from their wheels. Customer came in saying that her steering wheel has gotten really stiff lately and thought it might be something with the power steering that needed to be fixed. Yep, looks good. And this car came in because it apparently only starts sometimes, said the owner. This customer rolled in because of an oil leak after having been at a quick lube shop. And this customer said that they only needed new belts and that the water pump should be just fine. Customer states, "I don't usually tow stuff, but when I do, there's always a clunking sound. Could you check it out?" Looks good. The mechanics thought that this actually was a Hemi-fitted Mini, but got a bit disappointed when they opened the hood. But hey, you can always dream. This customer came in saying, "My stupid car is still pulling to the right even though I installed new rotors." Customer states, "I keep hearing a prize wheel sound when driving slow." This customer came in for some brake work after they had bought this car for $8,300 because it apparently was a one-of-a-kind barn find. More like a one-of-a-kind piece of shit. This car came in with an exhaust leak after the customer had put together their very own exhaust system. Customer states, "I have a really bad clunking sound and my truck struggles to shift gears. Can you check it out?" This car came in with a blown up transmission after the owner had towed it behind their RV but accidentally left it in first gear. This truck came in because the owner requested an oil change in their differential. Seems like they need a bit more work than just that. Customer states, heard a boink sound and then I had to pull over. Turns out that the customer had just installed a new wheel bearing at another shop, but they apparently hadn't tightened the axle nut properly. And if you don't change your brake pads frequently enough, they eventually just become one with the rotor. Customer came in saying, my nephew's a newly graduated electrician and he did some work on my car, but now it won't start. Please advise. Customer states, car is louder than normal and smells like burnt plastic. Please advise. And this customer came in saying that his car makes more of a patakataka noise than a vroom noise and wanted it looked at. The owner of this car had their boyfriend install a new battery for them, but the car now had intermittent starting issues. And this customer came in saying that his truck feels bumpier than normal. The owner of this car had installed a used wheel bearing from a scrap car together with his cousin, but came in on a tow truck 4 days later after the wheel bearing had failed. Pretty instant karma right there. And this car had done a bit of swimming. This truck came in for a pre-purchase inspection, and thank God for that, because the current owner had apparently told the buyer that the truck was as good as new underneath. Customer states, metallic clunking sounds when driving over bumps and car handles weird. This guy had installed a new sound system in his car, but now had starting issues and the sound system only worked sometimes. This truck rolled in because the customer said it had started to shift really roughly after their son had borrowed it for a week. This truck came in for an oil and filter change, but when having it on the lift, the mechanics noticed the state of the undercarriage. When told about it, the owner apparently just replied, well, that just means I've got plenty of room for secret cookie stashes. This customer rolled in saying, I can't figure out what's wrong, I just renovated the brakes myself. This Kia Sorento came in because the customer said it felt much slower than normal and had started to smoke a lot at cold starts. The customer later confessed to having tried to install a new head gasket together with his father and that it went a bit so-so. He also said that they might have mixed up the camshafts when reinstalling them. And this car had a bit of an identity crisis after it got a software update at a different shop. This customer came in saying that their engine makes a rattling sound after another shop had looked at it. Customer states, car feels like it's very wobbly. And this customer came in because their car had started giving off a whining sound from the back, and they also had a steering wheel vibration at higher speeds. The owner of this Mercedes came in as it had started to handle pretty badly, ever since they had done some suspension and framework on it at another local garage. And the owner of this car rolled in because they said that their car has been bumpier than normal during the past few months. Customer states, wipers sound like an old VHS player. Customer states, need new door latch because door just won't stay closed anymore. This car came in right on time to get a new tire after the customer had this happen to them while driving on the highway. And speaking of fuel tanks, this old truck was finally getting itself a new one. This car came in with quite the coolant leak after the customer had tried fixing it with some silicone, wooden sticks, and bungee ropes. And this car came in with quite the oil leak after the owner had tried fixing it with an epoxy. This car had just been in for some suspension work at a different shop, but had to come in because of a clunking sound. This Dodge Ram 1500 came in with quite the oil leak after the customer had done some work on the exhaust manifold, all by himself. And this customer came in saying, there's a bit of a draft in the cab, but only when braking. Please advise. The owner of this car had let their uncle, who's apparently a retired hobby mechanic, install a custom-built sport exhaust system for them. This car came in after the owner complained about a wobbly steering wheel after they had done a tire rotation at another shop. And this customer came in with starting issues after they had installed new spark plugs and new intake gaskets at a different shop. Turns out that the other shop had missed tightening the intake manifold and installed one of the gaskets in a pretty interesting way. This car came in because the owner said it kept overheating and leaking coolant, but they just couldn't figure out why. This Nissan Rogue came in because of a rattling noise. Customer states, I think I hit something on my way home from work. And this customer came in because they had a bit of a leaking problem ever since they topped up the engine oil 7 days ago. And these lifters have definitely seen some better days. And the owner of this Mercedes came in saying, I didn't buy a Merc just to have it sound like this. The owner of this car came in as they had a bad steering wheel vibration. Turns out that the customer has bad eyesight and had used an air pump at his local gas station and accidentally entered the wrong PSI number. Talk about a close call. This car came in looking like this after the owner said that they hit something small on the highway. This Ford F-150 came in because the owner said it had an intermittent ticking sound but didn't know what could be causing it. Let us know in the comments what you think it might be. Honey, coffee's ready! And this customer had done some beautiful suspension work, all by himself, but had to come in because of a loud clunk when going over bumps. This car had to come back to the same shop a week later, after the customer didn't want to listen to the mechanic yapping about the state of their suspension. And this customer keeps coming back to the shop all the time, but never gives his last name. What's your best guess? And this customer say that they hear a clunking sound when going over bumps. Customer came in saying that they installed a used radiator that they got off eBay, all by themselves, but had to come in because the car now leaks more coolant than before. And this guy had apparently hit a small log that had fallen out of a logging truck in front of him on the highway. Customer states, my car keeps overheating, please advise. And this car came in with quite the oil leak after the owner said he thinks he hit something that was rolling around on the highway when he was driving home from work. And this customer said that they keep hearing water sounds when they open the rear door. This 2017 Nissan Frontier came in because the owner says it has started sounding like a tractor. This car came in after the owner's wife had heard a loud sound but kept driving it until it just wouldn't start anymore. This truck was in because the customer said that one of their rear doors wouldn't stay shut and wanted the technician to have a look. The owner of this car said that their brother had installed wheel bearings from a local scrapyard 2 weeks ago, but had to come in because they had a terrible noise and vibration when driving. And the owner of this car had their buddy help them fix the steering, but had to come into the shop because the steering felt a bit loose. This car came in because it was really hard to steer after the owner had driven through a village in the mountains on a dirt road. Customer states, every time I turn, there's a party in my dash. This almost brand new Toyota Prius had to come in because the owner heard a clunking sound when driving. And this customer came in saying that they had tried doing some engine work for the first time and wanted the mechanic to make sure everything looked good. Customer states, steering wheel vibration when driving on the highway, please advise. And the owner of this car came in saying that their car has started to squeak, but not only when their wife rides along. And this guy came in saying that he had a minor vibration in the steering wheel. Yummy. Customer states, the AC sounds like he wants to be a diesel. Customer came in complaining about their car sounding hella bad and running a lot rougher than normal. And the owner of this car had fixed his broken ignition by himself and just came in to see if everything looked alright to the mechanic. And the owner of this car came in really worried, saying, I keep hearing a loud thump whenever I floor it, and my buddy said that I might need an engine replacement. This car came in with a bit of a rattle after the customer had installed an exhaust system in their very own way. Customer states, my rearview mirror only works sometimes. And this engine didn't want to start after it and the owner had taken a little swim. That doesn't seem right. And this customer had replaced the head gasket all by himself. This car came in for an alignment, but the customer had no complaints whatsoever about the brakes. Customer states, installed a couple of sport windshield wipers that she found on Temu, but thinks they're a bit too fast for her car and wants the regular ones instead. Customer changed their own belts, but now says that their car sounds like a pigeon. This car came in because the owner said it had started to clunk a lot more than normal after they had some suspension work done at a different shop the week before. This customer came in saying that they recently switched their automatic for a manual, but that they've had some troubles adjusting to it and that it has started to get difficult to get it in gear. And this customer came in saying, steering has started to feel really loose lately. Can you please make sure it's not something serious? And this car came in with a pretty dangerous leak. And this customer said that he had a few holes in his car, but that he'd taken care of it already and just wanted a tire rotation. Nah, they got a couple more miles on them, no problem. Customer states, had her younger brother install new belts on her car, but now it whines a lot and has started to smell weird. Customer states, my gas mileage is terrible. Could you please do something about it? This car was in for a yearly safety inspection, and this is what the technician found. Customer states, my son borrowed my truck for the weekend and now I have a weird wheel noise. This customer came in really worried, thinking that they might need an engine replacement after they've had this sound for a couple of days. Luckily for the customer, after a new pulley was installed, the sound disappeared. The owner of this car had done some suspension work together with their father the week before, but had to come in due to loud clunking sounds when going over speed bumps. This Ford F550 came in because it kept leaking transmission fluid. Turns out that it was caused by a tiny crack in the torque converter. Customer states, my kids all have back problems after riding in the car with me. Turned out to be an electrical problem where the rear seats folded down whenever the turn signals were used. This car came in after the owner said that it had started to run rough and feel sluggish at all speeds and wanted it looked at. Turns out they hadn't changed the oil in over 38,000 miles. This 2004 Chevy Avalanche came in with quite the clunking sounds. Customer states, had the car parked close to a large dirt pile for about 2 weeks while I was on vacation, but I found a bunch of squatters when I came back. And this customer had painted their Mazda all by themselves. Customer states, I hit like a small rock or something on a dirt road, and now my traction light is on all the time. And this car rolled in after the customer said, "Engine temperature has been crazy high ever since I replaced the head gasket myself. Please check and make sure it's nothing serious." And this customer said that he can't tell how fast he's driving. Customer states, "It's been getting harder and harder to shift the past few months." This vehicle came in because the owner complained about a noise from the wheels. Customer states, "I can barely step on the gas because my car revs like crazy." Customer states, "Me and the boys lowered the car the other night, but I think we might have gone a bit too far." And this customer came in saying that he had a clunking noise for a while and had fixed it himself, but that it occasionally comes back and wanted the mechanics to have a look. This customer came in with their Ford SUV because it had failed an emissions test after the customer had done some work on the exhaust system by themselves. This customer came in because they said that their car has started to sound a bit strange. And the owner of this SUV came in because they still had an exhaust leak even after fixing it themselves. This car came in after the owner said he had speeded through a red light when he suddenly heard a loud boink sound. Talk about some instant karma right there. Customer states, "Recently had some differential work at another shop, but car now makes a whirring sound at all speeds." Customer states, "Car makes a weird sound every time I put it in gear." This customer had done some suspension work by himself and came in because he wanted to know if everything looked alright. And the owner of this car had apparently installed some new wheels, all by himself. And the owner of this Jeep said that his favorite show growing up was Pimp My Ride. This customer had apparently stanced out their old brick Volvo about a month prior, but came in after they had hit one pothole too many. Customer states, "Did my own oil change, but now my oil gauge keeps getting all excited." And this truck came in with some starting issues. And apparently this car came with a built-in bubble machine. The owner of this truck complained about it not accelerating as it should and that it had started to smoke more than normal. The mechanic found the turbo to be pretty well used. And the owner of this car came in complaining about it feeling slower than normal. You probably think this is some fancy sport car, right? Well, actually... And this car came in with a bit of a leak. And this customer came in saying, "Brake pedal feels mushy, please advise." And this has got to be one of the coolest swaps I've ever seen. A G30 motorhome with a badass Chevy small block. Now that's a proper sleeper. This customer came in complaining about their car not wanting to go forwards or backwards despite being in gear. This vehicle rolled in because it had stopped moving after the customer had tried to shift into fourth gear on the highway but accidentally forced it into reverse, which resulted in this mess. Customer states, "My tires have a pimple problem, please advise." Customer came in with quite the exhaust leak saying, "Sometimes I feel lightheaded and see purple animals on the side of the road during my hour-long commute to work. Please advise." Customer states, "Car lock doesn't always do what I want it to do. Please advise." Customer states, "My dipstick tends to get way too excited. Please advise." Customer states, my wipers think that the windscreen is bigger than what it actually is. And here's the difference between a new blower motor and a used one. This one runs smooth and pretty much doesn't make any sounds. But this used one... Holy moly. This car came in because the owner said they had a grinding noise and a really nasty smell coming from the engine. Customer came in to install their winter tires saying, don't ask, I live in a sketchy part of town, okay? And this, folks, is exactly why you don't leave your car parked on your lawn for 3 years straight. This car came in for a tire rotation, but in some magical way, the customer hadn't noticed that their brakes were this bad and had just kept driving it as normal. This car came in because the owner heard a rattling sound when driving. And this customer came in complaining about their AC not being cool enough, and this is what the mechanic found. Customer states, heard a loud crunk sound from the engine, but kept driving it. Does not think it's the water pump because those should last the entire service life of the car. And the owner of this car came in saying, car was supposed to go but instead just went Boeing. And this car came in with the radiator holding on for dear life. And this car apparently makes its very own chocolate milkshake. And this truck came in with quite a number of leaks. Choo choo! This car rolled in because it had quite the oil leak after the customer had tried fixing it himself in a pretty creative way. Customer states, just had the exhaust fixed at another shop, but whenever I accelerate, I keep getting this knocking sound. And this pickup truck rolled in because it had failed a safety inspection due to the customer's pretty creative frame repair. And this car had some issues with their transmission. This Chevy Express rolled in like this after the owner's father had tried installing a new transmission in it. The mechanic found the transmission was holding on for dear life and that the transmission lines had been cut. Customer states, I'll bring my own parts. Automatic refill, yes please. And in some magical way, this car managed to get into the shop right on time. This Mini Cooper didn't want to start after it had been parked near a tree for a few months while the owner was away traveling. And when your transfer case fluid looks like this, you probably had some fun. This guy came in after he had tried installing new brake pads for the first time using a YouTube tutorial. The owner of this truck had some differential work done at another shop, but had to come in because the shop apparently went a bit overboard with the differential oil. And this customer came in saying that he was driving really fast on his way home from work, but then he heard a loud bang and the car just turned itself off. Customer states, I have a vibration when driving on the highway. And this car came in because the owner wanted their cloth seats converted into leather but forgot to mention anything about half their living room being in their car. This Chevy Tahoe rolled in because it needed some new rims and tires after the customer had 2 blowouts on the highway but had kept driving because they were late. Oh. The owner of this truck said that his brakes have been squeaking a lot recently, and this is what the mechanics found. This customer came in with their Kia saying that they had just installed new brakes that they got off eBay and wanted the mechanic to have a look and make sure everything looked fine. This customer had their friend go through their engine and also rebuild the injectors, and this is what it ended up sounding like. This truck came in because it finally needed some new brakes, 17 years after the owner bought it new. And when shipping takes too long, you've just got to work with what you got. Customer came in because he couldn't get his oil filter off and said, I always do my own oil changes, but this year the damn thing didn't want to come off at all, so I got a bit worked up. Yummy. This Ford Focus came in on a tow truck after the owner had put a new transmission in it a few nights before, but had somehow dropped a bolt in there which had caused quite the mess. This 2008 Volkswagen Caddy rolled in because the owner had troubles getting it into gear. The mechanic said that there was pretty much no oil left in the transmission and the transmission bearings were mysteriously missing. Customer states, I've installed 3 new batteries the past 2 months, but not a single one of them can keep a charge. This customer rolled in complaining about a misfire and that his car is barely running during idle. And the owner of this car had made and installed a pretty creative cat anti-theft system. Customer states, can you tell my Tesla to stop farting all the time? And apparently, some Hondas let you DJ while you drive. And this is what happens when you don't clean your soft top every once in a while. Customer states, son borrowed the truck for a couple weeks, but now it has a whirring sound. The mechanic found that the torque tube needed a bit of work. And the owner of this vehicle came in saying it has started humming and rattling a lot at higher speeds, after their father-in-law had replaced the wheel bearings and done some brake work on it. Customer states, tweaked my electric window motor to roll down the windows faster, but I think I messed something up. Please advise. And the owner of this car came in complaining about a thumping noise during hard acceleration. This car rolled in because it had started to overheat after the owner had done some wiring work on it, all by himself. The owner of this car had installed some new calipers together with his stepdad, but had to come in because the brake pedal felt like a marshmallow. And this vehicle came in with a bit of a leak. And this customer wanted to drive their tires to the very last mile. And this car had some issues with its AC pump. Customer rolled in and said that their arms hurt during longer drives and thought it was something to do with the power steering. Living in America. And this vehicle came in after the customer had done his very first oil change on it a week prior. This car had apparently been sitting in a barn for 6 months and came in because the owner had a grinding noise when turning. This guy came in saying, a friend of mine helped me replace radiator hoses in my truck, but now it has started to overheat on me. And this customer complained about their car being very bumpy when driving at lower speeds. The owner of this truck had some complaints about his brakes being very loud. And this car was in for an oil and filter change when the customer said, also, if you could please help me open this safe, it would be great. I must have misplaced the keys somewhere. And this customer had done their own tire rotation, but had to come in because the car had started to feel a bit wobbly when driving. Customer states, my car sounds like a truck. Please advise. And the owner of this car came in saying that he hit a large garden gnome while in a rush to get to the airport. And this customer was really afraid to lose his custom bumper, so he secured it in his very own way. And this car isn't British, but still likes to make tea every single day, especially when being driven in the middle of the desert. Customer states, installed a used radiator, but now I have this clunking sound when going over bumps. Please advise. This customer came in and said, a nephew of mine who's a fine electrician did some work on the truck the other day, but now it idles a bit rough. Could you check it out? Not sure if this is a dump or someone's home. What do you think? Customer states, was driving home from work when it started to smell like burnt popcorn in the cab, and I also noticed the car pulling to the right. Please advise. Yup, looks good. This customer had successfully hydrolocked their engine after having driven through a shallow creek of water. And this car had some pretty big thermostat issues. Customer states, steering feels looser than normal, please advise. Turns out that not everything carbon fiber is actually better. Customer states, heard a loud bang and then just lost all power, please advise. This guy had tried fixing a hole in his tire by creating more holes in it and sealing it with some duct tape. Great work! And when your engine oil starts looking all glittery, it's probably too late for an oil change. This Chevy Ecotec engine came in leaking from pretty much every possible place it could leak from. This Toyota pickup came in for an oil change when the mechanics noticed that it was a bit crowded in the cab. Customer states, so my car was pulling to one side for a while, but I figured out a way to fix it myself. This car came in with quite the list of issues. The owner of this car had installed some engine mounts at another shop, but had to come in because he said his hood gets a bulge when accelerating.
Surprise, surprise!
Customer came in with his car because it still had a strange noise at all speeds, even after he had tried to fix it himself. Customer states, I hit a pothole and my car isn't the same ever since. This car came in looking like this after the owner said they hit a large soda can while on their way to work. A soda can, huh? The owner of this car had the cheapest garage in town do some brake work on it, but had to come in 3 days later because the brakes barely worked anymore. And it's fair to say that this car will end up costing the customer a smaller fortune. And this has got to be one of those new flexible gear knobs. And this car came in with suspension in shockingly bad condition. Customer states, hit a large memory foam pillow on the freeway while on my way to work. Please check and advise. And this customer came in complaining about a clunking noise after they had some suspension work done at a local quick fix repair shop. Correct. And you know, some heroes wear capes, but others change their transmission in the parking lot of Napa. And this car came in with quite the dented rim after the customer said that she raced another car for a parking spot and won, but ended up slamming into a curbside on the way. The owner of this truck came in saying, my wife borrowed the car to go grocery shopping last week, but ever since the car has had this strange clunking sound. Could you check it out? And this car rolled in because it just wouldn't turn off. The mechanics tried everything from disconnecting the battery to even pulling the map sensor, but nothing worked. This car came in because the owner said it had issues starting and the mechanics made a pretty chilling discovery. And this guy came in saying his car feels really jerky when accelerating and wanted it fixed. The mechanics found the engine mounts to be really worn out, but after replacing them, the car ran fine again. And this customer's favorite show is apparently Pimp My Ride. This Kia Sportage came in looking like this after the owner said he hit a hedgehog on his way to work. This Toyota 4Runner came in with some starting issues after the owner had done some work on the battery, all by himself. This customer came in saying they had a slight vibration in their steering wheel and wanted it looked at. And this customer came in saying that they've started hearing a clunking sound when driving after their friend had borrowed their car for a week. Customer states, it's gotten harder to put it in gear. Please advise. This car came in because the customer said that they can almost turn their steering wheel 90 degrees while still going in a straight line. This customer came in with their truck after they accidentally put over 100 psi each in their rear tires. This car came in because it had a clunking sound after the owner had hit a pothole doing 60 miles an hour. And the owner of this car came in saying, my car sounds like a chocolate wheel, but I ain't winning nothing. Customer states, my girlfriend's car needs an oil change. Please advise. Just an oil change, huh? Customer states, hit a hole in the road and wheel feels different ever since. The owner of this car came in saying, brakes have been louder than normal lately. Could you check it out and make sure it's nothing serious? This customer came in saying, I think I have a faulty wire somewhere, cause every time I turn the wipers on, my door locks go bananas. Customer states, took my car track racing for the very first time, but I think I must have pushed it too hard. Please advise. And yep, these people are out there among us, driving on not only one bad wheel, but two. The owner of this car rolled in saying he's had a clunking noise for a while, but when the mechanic told him the price, he just rolled back home. Looks good. Okay, let's play a little game. Which one of these are bad? The owner of this Kia came in complaining about a clunking sound when braking, and this is what the mechanic found. And sometimes, you just gotta give it a good slap until it starts working. Customer came in saying they have an awful noise from the front ever since they let their son borrow the car the weekend before. Customer states, steering wheel wobbles at higher speeds. Customer states, I don't see nothing wrong with it, do you? Customer states, I think my car needs an Imodium. And the owner of this car couldn't have come in any sooner to have the timing belt replaced. Customer states, whenever I go to pass someone on the highway, I get this strange thump sound. The owner of this classic Mercedes came in saying that he thinks he hit a squirrel while on his way home from visiting his family and wanted the mechanic to have a look. This customer had apparently let their cousin balance their wheels for them a few months ago, but now said that they have a slight vibration when driving on the freeway. And tell me one thing silver tape can't fix. This customer came in complaining about a rattling sound at higher speeds after their friend had done some work on their car. This customer came in asking if their RPM gauge is supposed to be this stiff. The owner of this car came in saying, there's a rattle whenever I accelerate and the oil pressure has been a bit high lately. Could you check and make sure it's nothing serious? Customer came in saying that it's gotten harder to put it in gear after their grandfather had borrowed their car for 6 months. And this car had apparently started to make its very own dark chocolate after the owner hadn't changed the oil in 65,000 miles. There's your problem, sir. This car came in with a clunking noise after the customer had lifted the car in their very own creative way. And the owner of this car came in saying that they just want a tire rotation when the mechanic discovered this.
Yeah, everything's alright. Nothing to see here, folks.
The owner of this Jeep had done their own oil change, but had to come in 4 days later because of a misfire and blue exhaust smoke. Turns out they had overfilled the engine with about 15 quarts of oil. And this customer came in saying, "My truck doesn't want to stop popping popcorn. Can you check it out?" And this car came in with a handful of different problems. This truck came in for a post-purchase inspection after the owner had paid over $13,000 for it. Yikes. And this customer came in saying that their car has started to sound like a lawnmower. Turns out that the throwout bearing needed replacement. This car came in because the owner said that it fizzes and puffs after it gets up to working temperature. And this car came in after the customer finally decided that it was time for new brakes. This guy came in with his car because it had a terrible clunking noise after his nephew had done some suspension work for him for free. The owner of this car came in saying that they recently tuned their car themselves, but that it doesn't feel faster at all. Customer states, "I don't know why, but my brakes are squeaking. Please check and advise." Customer states, "My turbo doesn't go anymore. Can you check it out?" And when your car starts doing this, it probably just needs a diaper change. Customer came in saying that his car runs a bit hot and thinks it might need new coolant. And the owner of this car said that their car sounds like an angle grinder when starting up. Customer states, "Hit something on the way to the grocery store. Please advise." Customer states, "My car jerks around a bit during idle. Is that normal?" And this engine had started telling some pretty good knock-knock jokes. This car had some belts replaced by the customer's father-in-law, who's apparently great with cars, but came into the shop 4 days later because of a whining noise. This vehicle came in with a bit of an oil leak after the customer had done their very first oil change 2 weeks ago. Customer states, "Parking brake sounds like a choir of AI ducks. Please advise." Looks great! The owner of this car had apparently hit a curb going a bit faster than normal, and this is what the mechanics found. Customer states, "Had it sitting at 7,000 RPMs for a while because I wanted to max it out on the highway, but then I heard a loud clunk and the engine shut itself off." This truck came in with a coolant leak after the customer's friend had tried fixing it for them. This customer had just purchased this truck at a local auction for $8,800 and came in to make sure it looked alright underneath. Customer states, "Cabin fan sounds like Tarzan in a nursing home calling for help. Please advise." And out of all things, this guy had decided to save on the paint job for his front spoiler. The owner of this car came in saying that they think their steering wheel wobbles way too much. And the owner of this car came in saying, "I have this weird feeling that my car actually wants me to go faster and faster. Could you check it out?" Hmm. This customer rolled in with their car saying that it has started to clunk a lot and pull to one side when driving. Customer states, my window is acting a bit strange. And this customer's Audi came in because the dash decides to throw a party at precisely 28 miles an hour. Customer states, slammed the brakes pretty hard and heard a clunk sound. Could you make sure it's nothing serious? Customer states, my tire keeps leaking. Customer came in saying that her stepdad had fixed her power steering recently, but that something wasn't quite right and wanted the mechanic to have a look. This truck came in for an oil change when the mechanic noticed a beautiful custom paint job under the hood. And this customer had their truck's automatic transmission in for some work and got it back like this. Customer states, dropped my lucky coin in one of the air vents and I need it back. Please advise. Customer states, brakes feel like a memory foam pillow.
It ain't got no gas in it.
The owner of this car came in because they had a rattling sound when driving after their friend had fixed a bad engine mount for them in a pretty interesting way. An undercover automatic. And this car apparently came with a built-in pressure washer. This customer came in saying that his seat is always itching and wanted it looked at. Customer came in saying that they brushed against a curbside when trying to avoid hitting a mouse that was running across the road. And this mechanic had designed his own working lamp. Pretty cool. And this car came in because it wouldn't start after it had taken some swimming lessons. And this guy had hit a hole in the road that he thought was just a shallow puddle of water. This customer came in saying that their car handles like a boat and wanted it fixed. This car came in looking like this, after the owner had done some suspension work on it together with their brother and driven it like this for over a month before they eventually decided to come into the shop. And this is exactly why you should change your oil regularly. And this customer had made and installed a cat anti-theft system together with their father-in-law. And the owner of this 2020 Jeep Cherokee came in saying, was driving through a shallow river, but ever since, I keep having this strange noise. Cozy. The owner of this car had a coolant leak fixed at another shop, and this is what the mechanics found once they took a closer look. And this vehicle came in for its first oil change in 68,000 miles.
Yep, that looks about right.
Customer states, door opens way too easily. Please advise. The owner of this car came in saying that his wife had hit a curb going a bit faster than normal. And this turbo has definitely seen some better days. Customer states, truck clunks a lot after having installed new brake calipers together with a friend. And this customer had their younger brother fix their exhaust for them, but had to come in because they now had a rattling sound and couldn't figure out what it was. Customer states, the stupid car door won't open again. Please advise. Nice. Customer states, car rattles a lot during idle. Please advise. And if your engine block is made out of gold and your oil comes out looking like this, congratulations, you're rich! Yummy. This car apparently had a built-in snack box, especially for mechanics. The owner of this car came in saying, "I can't tell how fast I'm driving." This truck rolled in looking like this, after the customer had tried installing a new wheel bearing on it by himself. And this BMW M3 rolled in because the customer complained about a clunking noise. Customer states, "Shifter is acting up on me. Please advise." The owner of this car had done some framework on it in a pretty interesting way.
If you enjoyed this special episode of Rolled In Reacts, please hit the like and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching, and until next time.